calculate distance using Google Maps, you can use the Google Maps API. Here's a basic example of how you can calculate the distance between two locations using the Google Maps Distance Matrix API. Steps. Get API key. You need an API key from the Google Cloud Console. You can get it by following this link. Make an API request. Use the API key to make a request to the Distance Matrix API. Example code PHP. We've updated code on GitHub. Please check the description to get the GitHub link. How it works. API key. Replace your _API_ key with your actual Google Maps API key. Curl request. The script initializes a curl session to make an HTTP request to the Google Maps Distance Matrix API with the origin and destination. The API response is fetched and decoded from JSON format to a PHP associative array. Distance calculation. The script checks if the response status is OK, and then extracts the distance and duration from the response. The result is then printed out. Running the script. To run the script, save it as a .php file on your server and access it via a web browser or command line if running PHP locally. Notes. Make sure that your server has curl enabled to use this script. The API response includes a lot of details. You can customize the script to extract more information as needed, such as different travel modes or handling multiple origins and destinations. Ensure that your Google Maps API key has the Distance Matrix API enabled in your Google Cloud Console. This PHP script will calculate the driving distance between New York, and Los Angeles, California, and print the result. You can modify the $origin and $destination variables for different locations. Introduction to Google Maps Distance Matrix API. The Google Maps Distance Matrix API is a powerful tool that allows developers to calculate travel distance and time between multiple origins and destinations using various modes of transportation. It's an essential component for applications that need to offer location-based services, calculate delivery times, or provide routing information for multiple destinations. Key features of the Distance Matrix API. Multiple modes of transportation. The API supports several modes of transportation, including driving, walking, bicycling, and public transit. This allows developers to calculate distances and travel times that are most relevant to their users' needs. For example, a food delivery app may calculate driving distances, while a fitness app might use walking or biking distances. Multiple origins and destinations. The API allows you to calculate distances and times between multiple origins and destinations in a single request. This is particularly useful for applications that need to evaluate several possible routes or destinations at once. For instance, a ride-sharing app can use this feature to determine the nearest drivers to a passenger's location. Customizable parameters. Developers can fine-tune the API's parameters to meet specific requirements. These parameters include traffic models for real-time or historical traffic conditions, language settings for localized responses, and region codes to bias the results towards a specific country. Real-time traffic consideration. When calculating driving distances, the API can consider real-time traffic conditions to provide more accurate travel times. This feature is particularly valuable for applications that need to offer up-to-the-minute travel estimates, like ride-sharing services or navigation apps. Output formats. The Distance Matrix API supports both JSON and XML formats for its responses, giving developers the flexibility to choose the format that best suits their application's needs. How the Distance Matrix API works. The API works by sending a request containing origins and destinations to the Google Maps server, which then calculates the distance and estimated travel time for each origin-destination pair. The server returns this data in the specified format, JSON or XML, which the application can then use. This request specifies origins, the starting points for the distance calculation, destinations, the endpoints for the distance calculation, key, the API key associated with your Google Cloud project. Response structure. The response from the API will include distance, the distance between each origin and destination, typically in meters. Duration, the estimated travel time between each origin and destination, typically in seconds. Status, information about the success or failure of the request, including potential errors like invalid locations or missing API keys. Use cases of the Distance Matrix API. Ride-sharing and delivery services. Ride-sharing apps like Uber and Lyft use the Distance Matrix API to determine the nearest drivers to a passenger's location and calculate the estimated time of arrival (ETA). Similarly, food delivery services use the API to calculate delivery times based on the restaurant's location and the customer's address. Logistics and supply chain management. Logistics companies use the API to optimize routes for delivery trucks by calculating the most efficient paths between warehouses and delivery locations. The Google Maps Distance Matrix API is not free, but it offers a free tier under the Google Cloud Platform's $200 monthly credit. After exceeding the free usage limit, the API is billed based on the number of requests made. Free tier. The API allows up to 1,000 elements per day under the free tier. An element is a pairing between one origin and one destination. Pricing. Beyond the free tier, pricing depends on the number of elements, the type of request, standard or advanced, and the features used, such as traffic modeling. The standard rate is $5 per 1,000 elements. It's important for developers to monitor their usage to avoid unexpected charges. The Google Cloud Platform provides tools for setting up alerts and budget limits to help manage API usage and costs effectively. Best practices. Optimize API requests. Batch multiple origins and destinations into a single request where possible to minimize the number of requests and reduce costs. Error handling. Implement robust error handling in your application to manage different API response statuses and potential network issues. Caching. Cache API responses where appropriate to reduce the number of API calls and improve performance. Conclusion. The Google Maps Distance Matrix API is a versatile tool that can enhance a wide range of applications, from logistics and transportation to travel planning and retail. By understanding how to properly implement and optimize this API, developers can provide valuable distance and time estimates to their users, improving user experience and operational efficiency. With its robust features, customization options, and integration capabilities, the Distance Matrix API is a critical asset for any application that relies on geographic data and routing information.